10:24, when the Spirit says do.
You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing, oh Lord. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you got to dance, oh Lord. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. When the Spirit says shout, you got to shout, oh Lord. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. 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 You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says do.
Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom. But we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Grace Preuss, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the worship committee you will be hearing from include Alec Peck, who will be reading our sermon today, as well as coordinating our music. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. We invite you to leave your worries and defenses at the door and trust that what happens in worship today is inspiring and powerful. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser as we begin a new day and a new week. Although our doors are open, the pandemic is not over. So while we are here, please keep your masks on and socially distance. We invite those of you in the sanctuary to sit back and, and enjoy listening and singing to our songs with your masks on. For those of you at home, sing your hearts out. And now I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. For our call to worship, you are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. Our speaker today is Alec Peck. Alec Peck has been a practicing UU for 24 years and has a deep passion for the intellectual and spiritual challenges which arise from exploring the 6 sources of our living tradition. He was raised in a UU church, chosen by his father, raised Quaker, and mother, raised Jewish, though both are humanists in practice. Alec recently spent 2 years studying natural science at Creighton University, a Jesuit institution, and is now completing his PhD at UC Riverside while serving as chair of the worship committee here at UUCR. The sermon today is entitled Choice, Life, and Soul. It is rare in American history that the judicial system rules to explicitly remove a civil liberty or protection which it once granted to its people. Yet that moment came this weekend when the federal Supreme Court decided to remove guaranteed reproductive health access as a human right, striking down a 50-year precedent and allowing individual states to enact prohibition on abortion medication and procedures. This weekend, our religious freedom and our holy right for a mother to choose face the biggest attack of the 21st century, sacrificing personal freedom and medical facts in the name of Christian hegemony. We have 2 lightings of sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous Peoples Remembrance Candle. The second is the lighting of our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We walk upon the traditional territories of diverse and sovereign peoples, the original people of this land who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. This spot we occupy was first the sacred space of several groups of Indigenous peoples, including the Cahuilla, the Cupeño, and the Serrano. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's reading of the chalice lighting is a vision for Unitarian Universalism in a multicultural world by the UUA Leadership Council. With humility and courage born of our history, we are called as Unitarian Universalists to build a beloved community where all souls are welcome as blessings and the human family lives whole and reconciled. With this vision in our hearts and minds, we light our chalice. Thank you, Bill. Greeting our guests. We have a tradition at UUCR to welcome those who are visitors or perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand up and speak in front of others. So now I will ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to step close to the mic up here in the front and speak into it directly and clearly so everyone can hear. Do we have a volunteer today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Alan Ridley, and I came to this church 53 years ago. Was that maybe 55 years ago, maybe 56. When I was in high school, I was raised a Methodist, and I had a rebellious friend, Chuck Tobin, who was a Unitarian, and I was kind of interested in his belief system. And I came over here, and he was actually performing on stage, Jumpin' Jack Flash, on the stage in this Unitarian church, and I thought that was pretty impressive for a high school kid, you know, to see that kind of stuff. So, but I actually live in San Diego. My mother is 103 years old. She lives here in Riverside, so I'm visiting her, staying with her. That's my story.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank you, and that's how it's done. So if you're new here, a visitor, or an old friend, please raise your hand to stand and come up to the mic in front of the pulpit. Please come up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Patty, and I am from Riverside, right by the 15 and the 91. I was invited by a friend who wanted to try something as far as a little more open and inclusive. So we came this morning, and my history is that I was raised Catholic by a woman who was an intuitive and a psychic in a way. And so I have a very diverse background with that. And I haven't been to church in a long time. I did some science of mine when my daughter-in-law was taking my grandsons there. So I'm just here to enjoy and to share in your service. Thank you.
Welcome, Patty. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to share? Teresa?
Oops. I think that works. Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa, but my real name is Xinyu Xu Contreras, and I am actually from Taiwan, born and raised in a Taoist family, but converted to a Catholic when I was in college because I went to the Catholic college. And then now I'm married to a United States citizen with a strong, very strong family foundation of the Mexican background. And I came to this church today because my co-founder from Closely Connected, Sherry McKay, invited me to join the church and participate in order to share the community. But I also came into this church with an open kind of mind to really get to know everyone and also potentially seek for a relationship building. No matter what is age, you know, different religions or different beliefs, just to be able to get to know a lot of people. Thank you.
Welcome, Teresa. Is there anyone else? Okay. Adam, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to introduce themselves? That's it. Okay. So for any other new guests, please join us for socializing and coffee hour after the service. We'd love to chat with you out in the parish hall, where you can find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you were here, and leave your contact information if you'd like to know about any upcoming events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. Now there are a few announcements we'd like to share. During the service, we will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all of this information, and it is also available on our website. So now it's time for our monthly COVID announcement. Thanks to millions of vaccinations, California's economy is now open, but COVID-19 has not gone away. To safely go about our daily lives, let's keep taking the following steps to stop the spread. Vaccinations have so far proven to be safe and effective. Children 5 and older are now eligible to get vaccinated. Please wear a mask where required and to protect the vulnerable. Get tested if you are sick. You can make an appointment at vaccine.ca.gov, or for more information and more options of vaccine locations, please go to covid19.ca.gov. Let's all take personal responsibility to protect ourselves and others. We are all in this together. There will be a board meeting today at 11:30 a.m. in the sanctuary. Please attend. Service time change. The UUCR services will be starting 1 hour earlier at 9 a.m. over the summer months of July and August because of this heat inside of the sanctuary. The first Sunday lunches will be suspended until September. An Independence Day potluck barbecue is scheduled for Monday, July 4th at 3 p.m. at the church. Bring your favorite dish to share. Lee Greer will be our grill master. Please see Robert or Avery if you can help set up or take down the tables and chairs. Donations are welcome and will go to the church fund. Roy Zimmerman. Please join us for a Roy Zimmerman concert on Thursday, August 11th at 7:30 p.m. here in the sanctuary. Roy's concerts are a lot of fun and centered around current political topics. The suggested donation for each ticket is $25. We hope to see you there. Our hymn now is number 121, We'll Build a Land, from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but with your masks on. Now I invite you to stand and embody your spirit and join us in singing number 121, We'll Build a Land.
We'll build a land where we
sharing our stewardship. Today is 50/50 Sunday, which is held every fourth Sunday of the month. If you wish to donate to the 50/50 program, half of each designated donation goes to the featured organization and half to the general fund. This is in addition to your pledge to the church. Please write 50/50 on the memo line of your check or on the envelope that you find in the pews. Today we welcome the Locally Connected organization. Locally Connected is a nonprofit organization that promotes local community building in order to support refugee populations. Their representative, Teresa Shu, will now tell us more about this group and its mission.
Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Teresa, and my real name is Xingyu Xu Contreras. So I am the Academic and Outreach Director of Locally Connected. Oops. Right. And above you can see my email. And if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about me, there's flyers and also my business card, as well as some programs that is coming up next week and the week following. And then if you're interested in knowing any more information, feel free to contact me through email or grab a business card. So we're actually working for the local communities, especially the refugees communities in the Riverside, or not limited to the Inland Empire area that includes San Bernardino, Southern California, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Orange County. And our mission is to promote community building in order to support the refugee communities, the populations. And what we have been doing is to access their needs when they're being resettled. We understand that a resettlement agency gets them settled by providing like visa support, humanitarian parole, and either put together housing donations to get their life started in a new society, which now there has been a growing populations and in numbers in the Riverside area, especially where downtown Riverside, Moreno Valley is at, is after the Afghan evacuation of 2021, which is last year, that the numbers of Afghan refugees has been tripled at around just UC on campus. So that's where we're looking at the assistance after they've been resettled. What is the assistance they will need in terms of education? What are assistance that need after being resettled in the sense of mental health well-being, and also to support to get their life together by giving them opportunities to consult for career pathway, career building, also consulting for health or hygiene professionalism, and to give them a fresh start and connect them with as much resources as possible to get their life better after being resettled. Because there's a lot of challenge. I'm an immigrant myself, and I could have imagined for people who involuntarily fled their country, it will be an unpredictable challenge and unknown things that even us as community service provider will learn on the way as we know more and build relationship with the refugee families. And for the Locally Connected started in 2015, co-founded by Sherry McKay and Dr. Celine Nelson. And what we realized is the education needs from our refugee families are very, very, very important, because a lot of the families, we have the community ESL program, which I'm now currently coordinating and as a teacher, that we're providing ESL lessons for the women and also conversation partner opportunity to connect the family with one of the volunteers so they can practice an additional English and exposed to the English language outside of our regular ESL hours. And the reason why we think that a ESL class is needed besides signing them up or enrolling them to adult school is that a lot of this woman has never had a formal, either they have interrupted education background or no education background at all. When I first joined Globally Connected, I have a student who is about 38 years old, never hold a pencil. So for them, understanding what a book is like, how to understand, how develop the muscle mechanism for her to get familiarized with writing is a great challenge. And we foresee that she could not be able to adapt herself in a regular ESL class. And besides that, we value trauma-informed education approach for the past couple of years because we noticed that students who came to adult school might encounter any triggers due to the fact of the topic, even as simple as talking about their daily routine. It could have been that I watched, for the statement saying that I watch news every single day, but the news makes me really sad. It's going to have them breaking down in an ESL learning settings. So we need to reconsider the structure of the ESL class. It's not about language learning, but it is about to get them feel comfortable navigating their feelings and preparing us as a teacher and preparing them as a student to get ready in a learning environment where love and kindness is only integrated besides the purpose and the goal for teaching and learning. And last but not least, we also provide mental health workshops and progress for the past couple of years. And one of the biggest success and the continuing cooperation with the mental health professionalism is our trauma-informed skill building workshop with Dr. Kimber DeVell. It has made a tremendous impact to our families, especially the ladies in our family, to learn about skills that have them feel comfortable coping with their anxiety, stress, and sadness before they even open up themselves to talk about what has been taunting them and what has been making them not being able to function. It could be lack of sleeping, lack of diet, multiple pain in their shoulders and bodies, and even unaware of mental health. Well-being is part of the health structure, which in the United States is a big blessing that everyone respects, that the counseling session, understanding psychology, understanding individualism, but in cultures that are not more of a different culture structure, this might be something as considered shameful to mention, considered inappropriate, or even the worst, considered as a sickness. So we really want to encourage our ladies to open up, and the best way for them to open up is not just how are you feeling today, what do you want to start today for the session, but yet it is about to help them come down by breathing, controlling their breath, feeling love towards themselves, bodily, physically, kinetically, and feel them to feel relaxed before open up themselves. And that is one of the jobs that we are working. And we also have community partnership. As you can see, we have so many different partners. For example, UCR, we have the Welcome UCR event earlier this year in March that opens up opportunities to all refugee families, particularly the Afghan refugee families, to come to the come to UCR campus and get to know their resources, and understanding the fact that UCR is welcoming them by offering them job opportunities, career building consultation, and also degree transfer and accreditation consultation for them to have their degree from the other country getting valued and helping them to develop a career as they to be who they were before they fled the country. It's an eye-opening opportunity and great resources that we would like to connect with the refugee populations. And for the past couple of years, we also work with the CSUSB SKIP program and also Inlandia Institute to publish 2 different books on the behalf of raising refugee awareness, and then also share their stories about how they navigate themselves to make new friends as a stranger, but eventually for the goal of building relationship with United States, sharing about their stories in poetry, sharing about their stories in writings, and also share about their recipes in a separate cookbook. Oops. I think that, is it the timer or that's the last page? Oh, okay. So what I really want to share with everyone is that the refugee populations has so much need that even me as a coordinator and also our volunteers and co-founders were learning along every single time and every single sessions, practice, lessons that we provide. And we're seeking for volunteers who can contribute not only financially, but also contribute your piece of kind heart to be a driver for our families to go to the ESL class, to help out joining our mental health workshop with Dr. Kimber, which is held online, which telemental health right now is a big session, even on the UN, to talk about refugees' well-being, because there could be limitation for transportation to get to have them meet in person, but there's so much opportunities online to use that and benefit from the advantage of technology to make that possible to the refugee population. So what we're looking for volunteers are drivers that could drive our families to the ESL class, even driving them to get their driver license practice or driver license test, or even driving them by per request, per the family request, to actually go get their paperwork done, go visit a lawyer, because a lot of our families after the 2021 evacuation has not been able to get a vehicle because of the funding issues from the organization, which we do have partners that used to find like free insurance from AAA for a full year, and also a vehicle for them to start their life, which now this has been limited because of the cut of the funding, and we're still looking for new resources. And then secondly, to be part of the ESL class, because the ESL class is not just a learning classroom. We actually is a community in a classroom where everyone shares about their own story, greeting in their own ways, giving the 3 kisses with the Afghan ladies, and also like handshaking, give them hug or nodding their head. Also talking about their daily life, and also what has been happened, what you have grown, and what you have learned for the past week. Every single day, we encourage you volunteers to join us in an ESL class, to be yourself in order to be the friend that the refugee populations can actually know. So we're looking for more than just financial contribution, which it will be appreciated and grateful. We know it is going to go towards purchasing learning materials, or even like pay our partners, or our it would be like a cup of Starbucks money can contribute to the panelists that we invite for a hygiene workshop, dental workshop, or any other workshops. So I'm just going to end my presentation here. I hope you have a general understanding of what Globally Connected does, and I'm welcome for any questions now or after the service. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Teresa, and for the valuable work that Globally Connected does to make this world a better place. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be done in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may also contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is on the church website and also in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. You will get the full value, and the church also receives a percentage. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity, and to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? Our next hymn is number 402, From You I Receive, from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but only with your masks on. Now please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing number 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, into you I give, together we share, from this we live.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
How is it with your soul? This is the question that John Wesley, Anglican priest and the founder of Methodism, was known to ask of participants in small reflection groups. I ask you because for me, this has been a hard week. So, beloveds, how is it with your souls? In response to that question, if your response to that question is anything like mine, I want to invite you to pause as you read this. Take a deep breath, say a prayer, sing a song, light your chalice, feel the force of gravity pulling us all toward the same center, whatever helps you feel more rooted and less alone. Now do it again, and again, and again. And once you feel that rootedness and connection, hear this. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are a part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. Now let us pause for a moment of silence. Now, I would like to introduce Alec Peck, who will be speaking to us on a sermon entitled Choice, Life, and Soul. Alec?
Thank you, Grace. As you might imagine, this is largely a reactionary piece written a lot last night that I've been thinking a lot about since Friday. I was in the middle of a collaboration meeting for the physics institution that I work at, listening to a talk on the physics upgrades to our detector when the announcement was released on the news. And then I had to go pack up to fly back here, quite preoccupied about something that I really had seen coming for quite some time, although I really didn't think that it would happen in just that way. Today I was meant to be reading Reverend Dr. Aranson's Care of the Soul. And when the Spirit compels us to do something, we must. And so I couldn't bear myself to think about anything else today and this morning, but I did want it to relate to the original topic that we're going to be talking about. And so I will start by talking about the soul, because this is an important central question to the topic of reproductive rights, and it is central to religious expression, as a religious expression is one very important issue at the core of reproductive rights. And it's a moral question which can only be informed by religion. I mean, it's very obvious from our principles that murder is an awful thing to do. Any one of our principles could probably be used as a justification. But if we're going to, so then we better be sure that any taking of what we might consider to be life should be justified. And so it's an important question. What is it that makes a person a person? What is the soul? What is that thing which is inside of us, which we feel, and yet is somehow never manifest in our physical reality, but is something inherent to our experience, which we feel every day? And most important to the question of abortion, where does that soul come from? The soul is something that a lot of you don't really like to take as a very serious concept. As was said in the talk that I was meant to read today, it's often viewed as taking an unruly child to a meeting, as in, why would you bring that up in a serious context like this? But there's a common human experience that I think we all feel, which matches up with this thing, this feeling that we call a soul, this thing which acts and feels like this thing that we call soul. Because we are born of our mothers, just as she was born of hers, with no knowledge of the world. We know nothing when we are infants, and as we stumble blindly through the world, we are constantly bombarded by sights and sounds and other sensory data which tell us about how the world works and what our place in it is. From that, we construct memories, and we make our choices based on our experience and that knowledge that we've acquired. And just like the projector behind me, your eye is just a lens which takes some of that sensory data and it turns it into a chemical signal which forms a machination in your mind and projects onto the blank screen, onto your mind's eye, that which is given to you by your senses. But what is that blank screen onto which this is being projected? What is that experience? That blank screen, that blank wall, that is your soul. That which experiences the external and internal universe, that is yourself. When you try to recall a memory from yesterday, it feels like that memory is delivered to you. That which the memory is delivered to, that is your soul. It is not the memory, but the thing which remembers. Your soul is not the voice in your head. Your soul is the thing that hears that voice. And what does it mean to have that soul? What are the implications of being a living being that can experience the world in this way? And thus, why does that make us entitled to the right to life? There are largely four qualia, as they say in the philosophical world, which you might associate with this experience of having a self and having a soul. Consciousness, the sense of an inner universe, the awareness of our surroundings, the fact that we have a place in the world and a place in our life, and that we have a vision of this external world, which is inside of us. We have self-awareness, a meta-awareness of that boundary between what is you and what is not you, and the fact that we can recognize that ability in other people to have their own internal consistent universe. sapience, or the ability to have wisdom and to apply knowledge and experience that we've learned from our past, and sentience, the fact that we have senses through which we learn about the world. We experience the world through our bodies, which give us those senses. These are important religious questions because they have serious moral implications. The existence of this thing which we experience is something from our direct lived experience, one of our 6 sources of UUism. We are not just alive, but we are sentient, conscious people. But where does this sense of self come from? Can it be from God or gods? Is it just from the fact that this is how the world works and this is how we have gained our experience? And if it is, then when does this come about? If it is from our experience of the world, then it can only be once we have the machinery, the body, to actually have that sensation. If it is, as the world religions, one of our other sources, and even Christianity says, it is an act of God, just like everything is, then it is predestined far before the decision to have a child was ever conceived in the mind of a human. When we, the people who were born, are vastly, vastly outnumbered by all the people who could have been, but were not born. In every parallel universe, in every possible possibility, every brother and sister that we do not have, every choice that we did not make. It was something that happened to us. We were imbued with this soul far before we were birthed from that canal. And it was not some instantaneous magical moment which can be pinpointed precisely. The fetus obviously does not have these qualities that we associate with the soul: self-awareness, consciousness, sapience, and sentience. This is a medical fact that takes time, and that it simply takes time to develop the necessary organs to manifest the soul that we feel in the physical world. There is clearly some transition into sentient consciousness from the mere living hunk of flesh that exists in the womb before that birth canal, but it is certainly far after the first cell divisions that are inside the zygote upon conception. But frankly, the argument about the rights of women to have control over their reproductive systems is not really about medical fact or about whether unborn fetuses have a soul for us to kill. And frankly, the fact that we've ruled out the murder of a soul is not really a very good reason why this choice is a fundamental human right, and though it is. But what is it that makes that choice righteous and ethical? When, as our second principle calls for, we ask for justice, equity, and compassion, we must ask justice for whom? Freedom is the ability to do what you want, not the freedom to tell other people what you want them to do. And the origin of the soul is just the religious justification that has been given for the curtailing of that personal freedom. The Supreme Court Justice majority opinion stated that there is no reference in the Constitution and that to the rights of abortion, and that the 14th Amendment, which says that we cannot deprive any person of liberty, in fact, does not cover our ability to protect reproductive rights. And I'm certainly not a legal expert. I certainly have not taken the time and devotion of a SCOTUS judge to study the history of the United States law. But there are people who are smarter than I am who have pointed out that the 9th Amendment, part of our Bill of Rights, and the religious protection guaranteed by our Second Amendment clearly are in direct conflict with our ability to set up a personal liberty which can be easily justified for those who have the ability to give birth. What we have seen recently is a very intentional breakdown between the barrier of church and state. At the same time, when we've seen shooting after shooting in our country, and yet those rights are expanded because this American fascism would like to see a Puritan Christian nation where laws need no moral justification, only biblical ones. But you know what else does not make a reference to abortion? There is no reference in the Bible to such a word, nothing even similar. There is nothing about the moment of conception. This has been a talking point only developed in the last 50 years, oddly enough, by the religious right. There are some New Testament verses often used to justify what the Bible has to say about abortion, but these say only things about the predestiny of God's knowledge of you far before your existence in the womb. And they use Old Testament statements about that thou shalt not kill, nothing which says anything about other than the basic biological fact that we are indeed formed in our mother's wombs. There is no convenient objective truth rained down by an objectively moral God, which is the legacy of Christianity, on which all of the religious ground is based. The only religious ground for the opposition to abortion is an interpretation, something which is not written in Scripture and cannot be traced directly back to that which the Christians believe is infallible. Those Old Testament verses that are often called on for this justification are fairly unconvincing, frankly, to me, and are taken far out of context, where it's made very clear by the fact that a Jewish synagogue in Florida has stated, quote, "Abortion is required if necessary to protect the health, mental or physical well-being of the woman." It is clear that in the Old Testament Torah, that under Jewish scripture, this is a very fundamental human right. To protect the mental and physical well-being of the mother. That we have the right to health, thank you. That they have the right, the medical fact that an embryo develops, we have strong medical evidence that the development of an embryo takes much longer than 15 weeks to resemble what we consider to be conscious life. That we have the right to protect the mental health and the lifestyle of every person and how they choose to live. That some people choose to be dedicated to having a large family, and that is a holy and righteous choice. And that some people choose a celibate life of self-improvement, and that is a holy and righteous choice. The truth is that the right's motivation is nothing like these much more grandiose and abstract principles. The truth is that they are only pro-life until you are born. I think the truth is that the reason that these people want to see the requirement that people carry their babies to full term is because they want to see a punishment for women for having the wrong kind of sex, for choosing the wrong kind of lifestyle, for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they don't care that this is also a punishment for that child. They don't care that it is cruel and unusual to have a child born into a situation in which they were never wanted, in which they never deserved to be in, where they are not given all of the opportunities that a human deserves to have. The party of personal freedom wants to control your personal life, as explicitly stated in the corroborating opinion by Justice Clarence Thomas, and that our personal freedom, those impersonal freedoms that they claim, they want to impose by strict authority. And those fascists want to have total control over your personal lifestyle. And that type of total control is only truly possible over children, which is why it is so important for fascists to have that total control over childhood. And the mother is the one who has total control of a child in utero, and so therefore they demand total control over that as well. Their only purpose is to maintain the hegemony that that requires women to fulfill a very specific role in their society. But it is truly a tragedy to want a child, but to be unable to because of the circumstances of your life, because you are too poor or too busy. I myself would love to have a child, but I don't have any extra hours of the day as it is, and I would need to devote a lot of my life to my child, and I can't imagine any way that I could do it if I were forced to raise that in my life right now. If they truly believe in the sanctity of fatherhood, then they should know that it would be horribly irresponsible for me or my partner to bring a child into this world. And yet those fathers would never dare to take full and total responsibility of the child that they brought into the world. The duty to be responsible means that the choice to have that abortion is a holy and righteous one. And the circumstances of that pregnancy do not make that choice any less responsible if you find yourself pregnant in a situation where you do not want to be. The choice to make life is a holy gift given from the goddesses, and choosing when the time to make that life is also holy. Mothering is not just the giving of birth, and fathering is not just the providing of material possessions. It is the process of parenting. It is the process of bringing a whole and full soul into the world. And every goddess has given every woman the right to choose when to give that birth and when to be a mother. It is a holy right given to every woman by Brigid and Gaia and the pagan triple goddess and Freya and Juno and Nua and Uma and every goddess of the world's religions. Many of the 100 billion dead humans are small children, and many of them are fresh, newborn babies. It would be an underestimate to say even half, because in the US from 1900 to 1950, just over 30% of US deaths were of infants less than 1 year of age, who died a horrible, painful death in the very moments when their beautiful inner universe was about to expand, as is the miracle of conscious life. And this is a far greater tragedy than those who join the countless orders more whom the light has never touched. Our right to religious freedom, our right to abortion is sacred, and our sacred beliefs are also protected. I'd like to read the statement given from Dr. Susan Frederick Gray from the UUA. Their statement, UUs remain committed to reproductive justice. The Supreme Court of the United States issued its decision in the Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization case, which overturns Roe v. Wade, upending nearly 50 years of access to abortion. Below is a statement from Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, president of the UUA, regarding this decision. This decision manifests the worst fears of those of us who have been working for decades to protect and affirm reproductive rights. The overwhelming majority of Unitarian Universalists support keeping abortion legal in all or most cases. This is rooted in our principles and in our core religious beliefs that affirm gender equality. It also reflects a moral commitment to the idea that reproductive care is health care, and it is essential to the well-being of individuals and families. This anti-choice decision by the Supreme Court infringes on our deeply held religious beliefs. Access to abortion and the right to choose is an issue of gender equality, bodily autonomy, and religious liberty, all of which are long-held Unitarian Universalist religious teachings. As I said when the draft decision was leaked in May, I fear this decision will justify efforts to further limit the rights of women, pregnant people, and other vulnerable people and communities. Curtailing reproductive rights will be felt most by people of color, young people, poor and working class people, those living in rural areas. The rights of people in more vulnerable communities will only become more limited and diminish healthcare equality. Too many people are already deprived of ready access to comprehensive and equitable reproductive health care, including abortion access. Unitarian Universalists are committed to reproductive justice, a framework created by Black women in the 1980s and 1990s, which affirms the human right to have children, to not have children, to parent the children one has in healthy environments, to safeguard bodily autonomy, and to express one's sexuality freely. The UU faith has a long history of collaborating in this movement and advocating for safe, legal, accessible abortion care. The Dobbs versus Jackson's women's health decision does not alter Unitarian Universalists' commitment to reproductive justice. Comprehensive reproductive care, including access to abortion, is essential to health and well-being of individuals and families. This decision to limit basic human rights means that this fight will shift from to state legislature across the country. Guided by our moral values, we are prepared to be a part of that ongoing struggle and continue to show up for reproductive justice in all aspects of public life. Our faith calls us to advocate on behalf of those who need ready access to safe, legal abortion care whenever and wherever they need it. We will not rest until that reality is true across the country. And I urge lawmakers, elected officials, and leaders in public life across the country to take action for gender and healthcare equality for all. And I do not know the legal power of the UUA, but I think that we, as our congregation here in Riverside, should call on them to join in the progressive congregations like Le Dor Devor Synagogue in supporting the legal challenges to this outrageous decision. Thank you.
Our closing hymn is As You Go On Your Way by Amanda Udis Kessler. The words will be projected. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but please only with your masks on. Please stand and embody your spirit and join us in singing As You Go On Your Way.
And now, as you go on your way, take care, take care. The love, all the love that you seek is there, it's there. Love flows through our words and deeds, love knows all the things we need, love grows as our hearts are freed from hatred, fear, and pain. Take care as you go on your way until we meet again. And now, as you go on your way, take care, take care. The love, all the love that you seek is there, it's there. Love flows through our words and deeds, love knows all the things we need, love grows as our hearts are freed from hatred, fear, and pain. Take care as you go on your way until we meet again.
I do not know where we go when we die. And I do not know what the soul is, or what death is, or when, or why. What I know is that the song once sung cannot be unsung, and the life once lived cannot be unlived, and the love once loved cannot be unloved. Namaste, amen, and blessed be. Thank you, Alec, for sharing that sermon with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you all for joining us here today, and now we invite you into the parish hall for further fellowship. Thank you for joining us.